Sebastian, a good recovery drive after the penalty, but let's start with the incident. You said on team radio that you thought that Lewis had brake checked you. Just tell us about that incident.
I don't think so. I think it was quite obvious. I mean, I don't run in the back of him on purpose. I damaged my wing. I think he had a little bit of damage as well. Nothing that would have impacted on the race, but yeah, it's just not the way to do it. He's done it a couple of times. After his restart was really good. You know, he surprised me and jumped me, so I don't think it was necessary. The problem is me right behind, getting ready, and all the other cars. So I don't know, but the problem is then there's a chain reaction. He's done something similar a couple of years ago in China at the restart. It's just not the way to do it.
You received a penalty for dangerous driving. What happened when you went alongside him? Did you turn in deliberately?
Well, I think it was very clear. I think in the end we're racing with men, so I don't have radio to him. But I think if we get a penalty, then we should both get a penalty.
Why were you surprised then you got a penalty for dangerous driving? We heard you questioning it on team radio.
Because I think whatever I guess it was the running in the back of him. But, you know, same for him with the brake checking. So, yeah, as I said, you know, we're all grown-ups, we're men, so emotions running high in the car. But, yeah, we want to race wheel to wheel, but not when it's the restart. And as you saw afterwards, he did very well on the restart, and I had nothing to answer. So he outsmarted me then, but before it was just not necessary.
Up until this point, it had been a pretty respectful fight so far this season. And
I'm still respectful. I know where you might get that, but I don't have a problem with him. I think it's just one action today that was wrong, and I think if I go penalised, then he should get penalised. So, but how many times? Probably every Sunday in Premier League you have referees blowing the whistle and some players agreeing and some disagreeing. So that's sport in the end of the day. But for sure, 10 seconds is an awful long time when you stand there and you have nothing to do. So.
My goodness, Lewis, so much to talk about. I can't imagine how you're feeling. Let's start with the incident with Sebastian Vettel. He says you brake tested him. What's your point?
I didn't. I control the pace, so like all the other restarts, I slow down in the same spot. He was obviously sleeping and drove into the back of me, but that wasn't for me an issue. Driving alongside and deliberately driving into a driver and getting away scot-free, pretty much. You know, still came away with fourth. I think that's. I think it's a disgrace. I think he disgraced himself today, to be honest.
He said that it was a point to prove about being men. He felt that you brake checked him. That was going to be his revenge. What should the sanctions be?
Well, I mean, if he wants to prove that he's a man, I think we should do it out of the car, face to face. I think driving dangerously, which in any way can put another driver at risk. I mean, luckily we're going slow. If we're going fast, it could have been a lot worse, you know. But imagine all the young kids that are watching Formula 1 today and see that kind of behavior from a four-time world champion. Yeah, I think it says it all.
This had been such a respectful championship battle up until now. Have things just got dirty?
Not for me. You know, I'm going to keep going. I think we had the upper hand this weekend. I think we can continue to move forwards in the future. I think through difficult times, true colours show. So it's a good day for me.
Just very finally from me, the headrest, what a shame, because ultimately that cost you a Grand Prix win.
Yeah, I mean, I know my boys would be devastated. I'm sure we all are, but I think what's really important is to take away the great performance we had yesterday, the great work we did through Friday night into Saturday. Excuse me, the speed we had as a team, and you know, they did a great job in the pit stop and that. So, you know, I love the guys, and I just ask that we wipe the slate clean, move forwards. We can take this performance, and there's a long way to go. And it's hammer time, that's for sure.
He said.
Oh, I don't know. There's a couple of things that need to be spoken about.
Say them.
And
Preach.
look, Vettel he brought up the thing about the Premier League. Let us be very clear. For me, that was exactly the same as one player headbutting another. It's never acceptable, whatever happens. You take the law into your own hands. I think 10 seconds was probably lenient on him. Lewis was probably right. However, I think Lewis took an opportunity because he controlled the pace. I think Vettel didn't quite see it that way, and he thinks that he brake tested him. Look, leaving brake testing aside, the fact is you must never, ever, in any sport, take the law into your own hands, and Vettel did that. You can never get away with that.
He seemed a little coy in the interview there, DC. Do you believe he, for the want of a better term, wheel-butted Lewis on purpose?
Well, I would like to see an in-car shot to be able to see whether he actually put an input to the steering, because he definitely had one hand off the wheel. Where was the other hand at that point?
We couldn't see it, could we?
Yeah, I don't think, you know, to do that with your car, you're risking damaging your car. So I can't believe he would do that deliberately. I do think, though, he's made a misjudgment as to when the safety car is released like that, and the lead car can then control the pace. It doesn't matter what you think, as long as someone doesn't physically brake test you, which I don't believe for a minute Lewis has done, you have to wait and let the lead car control the pace.